Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rosslyn Hill Chapel, a spiritual home for open minds. I'm James Chirian Kandith, a chapel elder and the worship assistant for this Unitarian service. Whoever you are and however you are this morning, there is a space for you here. Whatever your race, gender, sexuality, class, age, and physical and mental capability, we welcome you in the spirit of love. We have small candles of joys and concerns which you are invited to light during the service. Also during the service, there is a children's chapel and creche for children aged 2 and above. Babies under 2 are welcome in the creche, but need to be accompanied by an adult. If you're watching at home, please join the virtual side aisle at midday. The Zoom link is in the weekly email, and you can find it via the link in the YouTube description. And those of you in the chapel, do join us for tea and coffee in the real side aisle after the service. At 6 p.m. this evening, we will have mindfulness meditation, and at 7, our heart and soul gathering. You can find information about these and all our Christmas and other activities on our website. If you prefer a paper copy, pick up the latest edition of our Open Mind newsletter at the steward's table by the door. The collection will be taken during the offertory music, and you can donate by cash, or not at the offertory music, during the closing music, sorry. And you can donate by cash or card. We divide our collection between chapel activities and this month's good cause, the Marylebone Project, which supports women in distress. And I'll now hand over to our worship leader for this service, who probably most of you know, Lindsay Stevens, Interfaith Minister. Lindsay.
Yeah, hello everybody. As James mentioned, my name's Lindsay, and I'm an Interfaith Minister. And actually, funnily enough, I think I don't know a lot of you here this morning, so it's lovely to see you here, new faces and old alike. Yeah, and it's so lovely to be back here in Rosslyn Hill on such a beautiful, beautiful morning. Our theme this morning, as usual at this time of year here, is Blue Christmas, which honours that although Christmas can bring joy and delight to so many of us, it can also bring difficult and painful feelings for many of us too. So in our gathering this morning, my hope is that we'll create a space to hold ourselves and each other in deep compassion and care. And like James said, whatever you're feeling about Christmas and whatever you're living through and bringing here this morning, you're welcome. There's a slight possibility that we may run a couple of minutes over 11 o'clock. I hope that you'll forgive me if that is the case, and if you need to leave bang on 12, please do feel free to do so. So, I'll just light our chalice. And the chalice lighting words are from Elizabeth Birtles, slightly adapted. I wish for you many of your own Bethlehems, where suddenly, into the darkest, coldest night, new hope is born, where suddenly a natal light reveals new possibility and potency for new life and love to be born. Thank you. I invite James now to light our first 3 Advent candles and the candle for peace.
Yes, it's been our practice over the past year to light a candle for peace in Gaza, Sudan, Ukraine, and all the places where people are suffering from dreadful conflict. And I'll also be lighting the Advent candles.
Thank you, James. So the Advent candles are lit for hope, peace, and love. Thank you. So we have got a couple of children here this morning. Would they like to come and sit at the front? Or would you like to stay where you are? They're welcome at the front. Yeah, you're welcome to come right here. Oh, it's lovely to see you. Thanks for coming up to the front. So our story this morning is inspired by a story called Somebody Loves You, Mr. Hatch, by Eileen Spinelli, as retold by Kate and then by me a little bit. I don't know if you remember Mr. Hatch from other Christmases. He is very stuck in his ways. He always walks to work the same way, always has ham and cheese sandwiches for lunch, and always has an early night. He's also very shy, and he lives alone. He doesn't have any friends, any family or pets. And poor Mr. Hatch often feels very, very sad and lonely, as you can probably imagine, without friends, family or pets. And it's coming up to Christmas, and because he has no family, friends or pets, he isn't looking forward to Christmas, being by himself as usual, feeling lonely and sad, and then going to bed early. The weather is very, very cold, damp and miserable, and he trudges through the streets amongst the cheerful, bustling Christmas shoppers, but sadly he has nobody to buy Christmas presents for. Poor Mr. Hatch. One day, the doorbell rings and a florist rushes to his door and hands him a package. "Here you go, Happy Christmas," she says as she rushes off, before he could say a word. Mr. Hatch was perplexed and opened the package, muttering to himself, "Who can this be from?" Inside he found a beautiful poinsettia with bright red leaves and big red flowers. And it really brightened up the room. And it made Mr. Hatch smile. But he was mystified about who had sent him this beautiful and unexpected gift. Then he found a small card, and the message inside read, "Somebody loves you. Happy Christmas." The next day, even though he didn't know who this was from, Mr. Hatch had a spring in his step and a smile on his face for the first time in years. He dug out some Christmas decorations to brighten up the room, and he began feeling happy. And that evening, when carol singers knocked on the door, he shared his mince pies with them. And he remembered how much he enjoyed singing in the choir at school. So next day, he went out carol singing with them, and he had so much fun. He got home to bed very late, feeling very warm inside, despite the chilly winter air. Next day, thinking that Mr. Hatch might be alone at Christmas, his next-door neighbour knocked on the door and invited him to spend Christmas Day with her and her family. And Mr. Hatch was really happy, and he went shopping to buy presents for them all and some food to share with them, and he felt very warm inside. On Christmas Day, they had a lovely day together. Mr. Hatch felt that he had some friends, and that changed his life for the better. And also for his neighbour's family. They too found a new friend in Mr. Hatch, and they too were happy. And together they enjoyed a wonderful Christmas and a new friendship which lasted a long, long time beyond. So, kindness changes our lives and makes us happy. Thank you. So, have a lovely time if you're going to your Christmas, if you're going to your chapel time. And we'll sing the children out now. Come. Thank you. So I invite James now to share our first reading.
I carry with me the awareness that many people find that this season brings not tidings of comfort and joy, but of frustration and grief. I believe that Jesus came not to dispel the darkness, but to teach us to dwell with integrity, compassion, and love in the midst of ambiguity. The one who grew in the fertile darkness of Mary's womb knew that darkness is not evil of itself. Rather, it can become the tending place in which our longings for healing, justice, and peace grow and come to birth. We are called to know and to name the gifts of the night, and to share the visions that emerge from the darkness. In darkness and in light, God beckons us to keep vigil and to companion one another in this and every season. In giving voice to our visions, we find strength in the shadows and a presence that guides the way.
Thank you, James. Those words from Jan Richardson. And I'll share now an excerpt from David Whyte's poem, Winter Grief. When you find yourself alone in this winter's narrow light, when everything near to you is too near to you, and everything far away is still too far away. Let this wind and this winter and this rain and this weather and all the difficult blessings of the world find you here. Let the birds sing and the geese call and the sky race from west to east when you cannot raise a wing to fly, so that you can let winter come and live fully inside you, so that you can let yourself not know what not knowing means, so that you can let the world alone to think of spring. Thank you. So let's join our voices now in hymn number 21, Come and Find the Quiet Centre. Be seated. Thank you. So you probably know now, as it's the tradition here to celebrate Blue Christmas, that these services grew out of an important recognition of those of us who feel, for whatever reason, unable to celebrate at this time of year, and may instead experience some very unwelcome and painful feelings. Many of us find winter challenging anyway, don't we? And studies have found that our collective mood does worsen in December. And it's a time when we can feel our losses, our grief, absences, loneliness, and overwhelm more acutely than normal. And these and other feelings can leave us feeling very isolated in the midst of all the Christmas cheer. With all the myths of happy families, whatever form they take, expectations of joyful celebrations, perfect gifts, and pressures, financial or on energy and time. All this can really leave us feeling exhausted, anxious, and perhaps excluded in our culture that almost mandates joy at this time of year. I wonder if any of you find Christmas difficult. As you're here, maybe you do. Just, raise your hand if you find it difficult. Yeah, it's not an easy time. I see you. I feel for you. So, I've been hearing from so many friends, clients, and colleagues about their overwhelm preparing for Christmas. And many songs have been written about the challenges of Christmas. Apart from Elvis Presley's Blue Christmas, which I imagine the title of this service was inspired by. One that springs to mind for me is River by Joni Mitchell, with the line, "I wish I had a river I could skate away on." This feeling might be familiar to some of you. If we feel challenged by this time of year, we're not alone. Sometimes it can help even a little bit to know that we're not alone. Reasons for feeling challenged are many and personal. Some of us may have broken relationships, illness, either mental or physical, be spending time with others we'd rather not be spending time with, or on our own when we yearn for company, feeling lonely or sad. Or we may have painful childhood experiences and memories of Christmas. Or there may have been a recent bereavement or an anniversary of a bereavement or pending bereavement. All these can really prevent us from really engaging with the joy of this time of year. And even those of us who enjoy Christmas can feel overstretched at this time and really need some breathing space to find ourselves again. And many of us are likely feeling heartbroken by the state of the world. There is, heaven knows, enough suffering to overwhelm us and leave us feeling despair, deep despair. And I'm sure by moments it does for all of you. And against this backdrop of such devastating circumstances, it may feel impossible to enjoy ourselves. And we may even feel guilty that we are in a position to celebrate and feel joyful. This makes it doubly hard, though we do need to be able to hold and live both our joy and our pain, and let both sit in our hearts and find expression in their own time. As the writer Albert Camus said, even in the face of suffering, it's a moral responsibility to feel joy. Otherwise, the world would only be in sorrow. And the Buddha invited us to do the same, to feel joy even amongst suffering. Both are necessary for us to be human. You may feel other challenges and suffering that I haven't named. My heart and our hearts are with you, whatever your pain and its cause. So many of us won't get our needs met this Christmas, though perhaps we can find a sense of peace by simply acknowledging what our needs are and offering ourselves compassion that they are not likely to be met for whatever reason. And perhaps the invitation is to offer ourselves even a small slice of time and space to really honour our feelings and to think about self-care or support that we may need to move through this season as best we can. Befriending our difficult feelings, as in Buddhism, can sometimes help. Simply letting them be present as they are, acknowledging it's like this, whilst holding yourself in kindness. And maybe putting hands over your heart for comfort. It's like this. It's painful. Difficult feelings may not necessarily go away, but you may feel differently, more peaceful and present, held in your own witness and surrender, in the refuge of your own heart. So my invitation would be to tend your feelings gently and try not to put pressure on yourself to fulfill someone else's expectations of you at this time. All easier said than done, I know. Some people won't understand, and some won't like our choices. And we may not find a way to see anything positive at this time, though maybe we can kindle just a spark of hope or of healing and tend this with care, remembering the love, friendship and beauty in the world. Maybe this darkness, this fertile darkness, as Jan Richardson in our reading earlier calls it, can be a time to plant metaphoric seeds for our future, can be a time of growth and healing. And maybe it's a time to reach deeper into a sense of personal understanding through spending some time in reflective solitude. Maybe it's a time to reach out to others who are struggling. We can receive healing, can't we, through offering others what we ourselves need. Many spiritual teachers recognize this. Or it may be for you to reach out for the support and company you yourself need. It could be a time to allow the darkness to hold us and perhaps support us to express our grief, if that is what we're feeling. However we do it, let's tune into our needs and offer ourselves some of what brings light into our being to nurture a sense of hope, even if it is, for a moment, just a tiny spark. Advent is a time of waiting, an incubation time for the incarnation of the light of the world, the light of peace. And as I say all of this, I really want to acknowledge that at times it can feel impossible to feel joy, and that needs to be held so gently in profound kindness. Maybe simply your own kindness, or maybe reaching out to receive kindness from another. I hope that as you look around you this morning at your community here and others that you're part of, you'll find some comfort in knowing that you are not alone and that you have those who care about you deeply and for whom you care deeply. And may this knowing and feeling carry you through this time into brighter times ahead. Let's join our voices now in hymn number 27, Dark of Winter. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, John. So let's spend a few moments now sending our prayers in our prayer of names, wherever and to whomever you're holding in your hearts, to those people or places who are struggling in any way. And you may wish to include yourselves if you are living through something painful. So you may either name these out loud or in the silence of your own hearts. And then we'll just take a couple of moments in silence following these words from the Somali British poet Warsan Shire. Later that night, I held an atlas on my lap. I ran my fingers across the whole world and whispered, "Where does it hurt?" It answered, "Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere." May there be peace and healing in our own hearts this Christmas, and in all the broken-hearted and devastated places in the world, one day very soon. So may it be. Amen. I invite you now to settle into a comfortable position for a guided meditation, maybe both feet on the ground, and feeling yourself supported by your chair and the earth beneath you. And closing your eyes if that feels comfortable for you, or lowering them if that feels more comfortable. And become aware of your breathing, your in-breath and your out-breath, gently without changing anything. And now I invite you to touch in with what you personally are carrying as we approach Christmas. What may leave you feeling separate or in anxiety, grief, unable to engage with joy? It may be bereavement or pending death of somebody you love, illness, your own or of loved ones. financial stresses or loss of work, loss of relationship, unhealed childhood pain and sadness, burdens of responsibility, exhaustion. There are too many possible reasons to mention them all in this meditation, but you know what is weighing on your heart, your precious heart, to touch in. You may wish to place one or both your hands over your heart as you feel into this. May we all know the deep validity of our feelings. They are understood and cradled gently here in this space. Whatever you're feeling is worthy of compassion. We may need courage to get through this time. So let's honor our courage to face our sadness, to share our feelings with others perhaps, and the courage to dare for hope, for light in the depths of the struggle, our own, and the struggle and darkness of the world and the world's suffering. Or our courage to reach out to others and ask for or to offer support. I now invite you to reconnect to your breath, your in-breath and your out-breath. And again feel your feet on the ground and your body supported by your chair. And gently, when you're ready, open your eyes if you've had them closed. Thank you. So, as John plays for us now, you're invited to come up and light a candle to symbolize a quality you feel that you need at this time, or as a prayer which you carry in your heart for others in your life, or for the world, or for you yourself at this time. Thanks, John. you, John. That was beautiful. I've lit one last candle for all those prayers which are still remaining cradled in our hearts. Thank you so much for this precious light of your prayers. It looks so lovely. Let's spend a few moments just focusing on the light of our candles and breathing together. Imagine being able to breathe in the light. Thank you. So whilst I was preparing for this service, I found these. Oh, that's all right. I found these gentle words from Howard Thurman, the American theologian and Christian mystic. We light candles this Christmas, candles of joy despite all sadness, candles of hope where despair keeps watch, candles of courage for fears ever present, candles of peace for tempest-tossed days, candles of grace to ease heavy burdens, candles of love to inspire all our living, candles that we will burn all year long. Thank you. So as we draw gently to a close, Spirit of life and love, God of our understanding, when times feel dark and bleak, may we trust in your loving presence and that of our loved ones to guide us, support us, and bring us comfort, friendship, and healing, and to restore light, peace, and joy within our hearts and the heart of our fragile, broken world. May we come into the presence of whatever, whomever soothes and holds us, and may we relieve at least some suffering through offering our own loving presence, where we are guided to share it. And together may we create a sense of hope to bring healing. So may it be. Amen. So let's sing our final song together, in the knowledge that it will be Christmas. Hark the herald angels sing. John. Brilliant. So rousing. Thank you all for coming this morning to spend this precious time together, for supporting those amongst us who find this time of year particularly painful. Thank you to John for the wonderful music as usual. We'll clap it after the closing music. And for James as worship assistant and for reading for us. And I'd like to thank whoever played any part in decorating the church so beautifully. It just looks really lovely, feeling the Christmas spirit for the first time today. And thank you to Margaret, who I think has been preparing the refreshments for us this morning. And deep thanks to Reverend Kate for inviting me. And so may you all, whatever you're holding as we approach Christmas, you can sit down. Feel the love and friendship surrounding you in warmth. May you reach out to offer support to each other or to ask for it when you need it. And may we all continue to bring grace to the world through our acts of kindness. May you sink more deeply into the roots of your soul. And may this be a season of more comfort, support, love and healing and compassion than perhaps you could ever have imagined. Go well and thank you. And we'll take the collection now during the closing music, which John will play in a minute. So thank you all to everything you bring to this congregation to help to sustain the light of this very strong, life-affirming congregation. Thank you. Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. That was beautiful. Yeah. And thank you very much, Lindsay, this morning for sharing what you did with us and spoke to us. And also thanks to Derek and Chris and everyone who helped make this service. Please do join us in the side aisle for refreshments, and have a good rest of the week. And also I would like to welcome one of our number who is back in the chapel after absence for some time, Rosslyn. And I understand it's your birthday, so happy birthday to you.